Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight.
The Deputy Prime Minister fires back at recent criticism over the decision to purchase the Grand Lucayan Hotel.
A man is behind bars after allegedly assaulting an officer.
Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to Our News, and thanks for joining us. I'm Kyle Joaquin. Members of the press and the general public will be subject to a Supreme Court order preventing them from discussing the bribery case of former cabinet minister Shane Gibson. Jared Higgs has the details.
Justice Charles summoned members of the press and Gibson and his legal team to let them know that this matter should not be discussed on any platform.
During a brief sitting on Friday morning, Supreme Court Justice Indra Charles told her court that she's issuing a legal order preventing members of the press and the public at large from discussing the Shane Gibson bribery case. After asking members of the media to stand and identify themselves, and with Gibson and his attorneys Wayne Monroe QC and Damien Gomez QC present in court, Charles delivered a statement that she described as a matter of great importance. The Supreme Court Justice said that she had seen articles in newspapers and elsewhere discussing Gibson's case. She said this should not happen as the matter is sub judice and it may affect the fairness of the trial. Sub judice is a legal term which means that a matter is under judicial consideration and public discussion on it is prohibited. Charles's order will also extend to talk show hosts, social media users, and members of the public. She says she'll be calling on the Commissioner of Police to enforce her order. Charles added that the lawyers involved in the case would personally serve all media houses with the order, adding that if you want to call it a gagging order, so be it. In addition, a general announcement warning members of the public not to discuss matters before the court would also be made. On August 3, 2017, Gibson, 55, was charged with 16 counts of bribery, 2 counts of conspiracy to commit bribery, 2 counts of conspiracy to commit extortion, 15 counts of extortion, and 1 count of misconduct in public office. In May, the prosecution dropped the extortion charges in order to provide a simplified and singular focus on the bribery charges. Justice Charles replaced Justice Stephen Isaacs as the judge in the matter after his death in August. Attorney Terry Archer appeared on behalf of the Crown. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
Several Millennium Gardens residents shocked after they went home this afternoon to meet the locks on their homes changed. The drastic move followed an eviction notice.
Yes, it's hard. It's hard. Only God given me.
Margaret Marshall is a mother and grandmother who has been living in Millennium Gardens for over 15 years. But today, her biggest fear as a homeowner came true.
I am ready to come up with $166,000 in a month's time.
You got this on September 14th. This was dated September 14th.
Yes, sir.
It's September 28th.
So I have a couple, must be about a week more.
And several women living in Millennium Gardens claim to have gotten a similar letter with the same deadline. Like this woman who says she went to work this morning and came home meeting her locks changed at the order of the Bahamas Mortgage Corporation.
Well, we never been to court, so he just came and bring this one here and say we have to be out in 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Yes, which is today, make 2 weeks, the 28th. And they tell us they can't do that because I tell them we never got a letter to go to court. So how you can evict somebody out of home and just bring this in 2 weeks and we're supposed to find someplace to live. That's the locks there on the ground where they take out. They shake down the back door and change the locks.
All while you weren't home today?
Yeah.
Let me see what the eviction notice says. It says that this is now the property of Bahamas Mortgage Corp. Please contact Mr. Gibson. If you enter this property without the authorization of blank, you will be prosecuted by the court of law. For further information, please contact the undersigned.
This other Millennium Gardens resident said her deadline was also September 28th, but that when she came home yesterday on the 27th, her locks were already changed, and she, her children, and her 80-year-old mother were forced to sleep on their back porch.
They changed the locks on me. I'm not working right now. Only one person in my home working right now.
Do you think they gave you the opportunity to try and find the money that you owe?
No, they didn't give me no opportunity. I didn't go to court. I didn't go to court. They didn't give me an opportunity to find no money, nothing. Nothing. They just changed the locks. I went out and they just changed, come back, made the locks change.
That was this morning?
That's yesterday. And what happened is when they come to bring this paper in my hand, They showed me the lady, the next lady, and the next lady, just about everybody in Millennium Garden. They showed me their papers. Who all houses, they go and they take locks off.
And while all that was going on in the living room of one of the women set to be kicked out, reps from the mortgage corporation were just across the street sitting in a car waiting for them to leave. So he went and tried to speak with them.
Hi, you're the mortgage corporation?
Yeah, I'm it. Give me a minute.
Eventually, we got to speak with the mortgage corporation's senior collections officer, who said he was given a court order to take action.
The only problem I have with that is it can't be some of them, because there's only one person in there who's actually on the mortgage. So that's the only person who could tell you what they got and what they didn't get.
About how many people are being evicted? How many homes? How many homes?
How many homes were?
In Millennium Gardens are we talking about?
Oh, I can't say that. Okay. All I can say is that this one, we have an order to work with.
Gibson said this isn't the first, and he doubts it will be the last time they've had to evict someone.
What would prompt someone being evicted out of their home from a government home?
A government home?
Yeah, mortgage.
Okay, let's put it this way. If I didn't pay my cable bill, what happens?
It gets turned off.
So sad.
Well, Minister of Finance Peter Turnquest confirming that there have been several expressions of interest by investors looking to purchase the Grand Lucayan Resort from the government. Turnquest says this is a good sign as government works to boost Grand Bahama's ailing economy. However, he remained tight-lipped on the resort's original price despite the Prime Minister's pledge to be transparent. With more on this, here's Jasmine Brown.
Despite continuous criticism, the Deputy Prime Minister insisting the government's move to purchase the hotel is still the right decision.
To me, this is a vital investment, a piece of the tourism infrastructure that is significant to the economy and the rebound of Grand Bahama that we hope will happen in the very near future.
The government took ownership of the property earlier this month. It is purchasing the resort for $65 million. $30 million was paid up front. Turnquest told our news team that mere weeks after the resort was turned over to the government, officials are already in talks with several investors.
I don't want to, again, give the number. There are several.
From what you know of these several, any Bahamian groups involved?
There are some Bahamian groups involved, yes.
A resolution to borrow $35 million from the resort's owners, Hutchison Lucayan Limited and Bahama Reef Limited, to facilitate the purchase of the resort was passed last week Thursday. During the debate, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis patted his administration on the back after he said they were able to negotiate the price down significantly. The PM, who is currently in New York for United Nations meetings, has said if asked, he would reveal the original purchase price. Our news team asked Turnquest, and this was his response.
I want to restrain my comment on the Grand Lucayan. We need one message so that we don't add to the confusion that is out there. The fact of the matter is that there was a significant reduction in the price, the initial asking price, and again, I don't want to get into it, and I'll refer you to the chairman, who has the facts and who can address it as he sees fit.
Can you say whether or not that was 150 million was the price?
I can say, I would say that, yeah. Again, you know, you obviously heard something.
That's a yes or no?
You might have heard something.
According to a technical team which compiled a report on the repairs and renovations needed to bring the resort up to optimum standards, it would cost $8 million to renovate Breakers Key, $15 million to make repairs on Lighthouse Point, the convention center, offices, and the back-of-house operations, and $15.5 million for memories. The opposition has already called the sale a bad deal, but Turnquest says the government doesn't see it that way.
Speaking as the Member of Parliament for East Grand Bahama, where the hotel happens to sit, this is very important for the economy of Grand Bahama. And I think that a lot of people don't understand how significant this is. And it's not just the 400 jobs. This is about the entire economy of Grand Bahama and all the businesses, small, medium-sized enterprises, the tour operators, the taxi drivers, all of the shops and everything that feeds off of this property. So it is very important that for us as Grand Bahamians that this property remains in operation and in fact that it is repaired and that it's put back into operation as quickly as possible.
Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
All right, thanks, Jasmine. Well, police have launched an investigation following the circulation of a series of videos that captured a melee in the magistrate's court Thursday. The videos, which are making the rounds on social media, show chaos erupting inside the South Street Court complex after a suspect allegedly slapped a police officer. Jillian Gray reports.
It was quite a scene at the magistrate's court yesterday as a man in custody allegedly assaulted an officer who was escorting him. This video showing 3 officers in the foyer of the court pinning a man to the bench before arresting him made the rounds on social media yesterday. According to reports, the officers were escorting 2 men who were remanded to the Bahamas Department of Corrections when one of the men slapped an officer and threatened to kill him. Officers say that suspect will be charged in connection with the incident. Now, on the tail end of that 18-second clip, 2 women, one in a white shirt and the other in a blue shirt, are hysterical. In another video, police are seen escorting the 2 women out of the court. Investigations into the matter continue. Reporting for our news, I'm Jillian Gray.
Pine Ridge Member of Parliament Frederick McAlpine has accused the government of excessive travel with bloated delegations. The FNM MP said while this is not Sesame Street, the word of the day is accountability. Here again is Jasmine Brown.
Mr. Speaker, lest we have forgotten, this is not Sesame Street, but our words for today are accountability, transparency, and integrity. 1 year and 4 months later, Bahamians want to be assured that the words that came out of our mouth as related to what we will do if given the opportunity to be in the position we are now in, they want the action from those words that were spoken and no longer repetition of those spoken words.
The outspoken MP didn't hold back during debate on the fiscal responsibility bill in the House of Assembly Thursday afternoon. McAlpine says one of the FNM's key campaign promises was to limit excessive travel. This is Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis and a nearly 20-person delegation are in New York this week for the 73rd session of the United Nations General Assembly.
People are wondering why, and it seems to be austerity budget for the citizen. But the government seems to be traveling with such large entourages, sleeping, eating, and many other things at people's expense. People want to know why so many people have to travel in these large astronomical numbers. And they're now asking for expense accounts for these trips to be laid on the table in this pace. It's called fiscal responsibility.
It's not the first time Minnis has been criticized for traveling with a large delegation. Back in February, the Prime Minister raised eyebrows when he took over 15 people with him to Haiti. McAlpine said there are far too many people who have not received their pension since retirement, others who remain unpaid for services provided to the government, and many who have lost their contracts, including supporters of the government. He also pointed to money owed to nurses, teachers, and other civil servants, as well as people on Grand Bahama who find it difficult to receive social service assistance in a timely manner.
It is a legitimate question because we have said as a government things are fiscally bad, and our financial pattern ought to line up with what we say.
In January, Dr. Minnis committed to disclosing ministers' travel costs. Press Secretary Anthony Newbold has said a report on ministers' travel will come at the end of the year and explained that compiling the trips of all ministers with explanations is an extensive undertaking. Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Thanks, Jasmine. Still to come on our news, why one FNM MP wants government to amend the fiscal responsibility bill. Plus, students at Temple Christian High help to feed the hungry. Stay tuned.